Welcome to the AJ Awesome Show, a show about my favorite things. My name is AJ and my special guest for this episode is Rory Fox. I hope you like the show! Why did you start wrestling?
Well, how old are you?
I am 10.
10, yeah, that's about the time I became a fan. You know, I used to watch before it was WWE, it was WWF, and I got to watch it once a week on Sunday nights, way before cable and all that. And the very first time I saw it, I was hooked. And I remember leading up to the very first time I saw it, there were commercials coming soon to Channel 7, the Junkyard Dog, Hulk Hogan, all these, names you wouldn't know, but I was excited. I'm like, I got to find out who this Junkyard Dog is, who Hulk Hogan is, King Kong Bundy, Big John Studd. And I saw the British Bulldogs wrestle, and I was hooked. They were a British tag team that had all this athleticism. Dynamite Kid was way ahead of his time, like all the guys you see on NXT now, these cruiserweights. He was like the beginning of it, and I was hooked once I saw him wrestle.
What advice would you give a new wrestler?
A new wrestler? I would first go to a very good training school. Do your research, find out who he trained, what his background was, how many years he wrestled. Do your research before you fork over the money.
Would you rather time travel to the past or to the future?
Definitely to the past. When I started pro wrestling, there was ECW, WCW, and WWE. But 2 years in, there was only one company. And with me being a smaller guy, by standards back then, not so much now, but if I could have got a job in like the 70s, in the 80s, I think I would have did really well. I could have went, there used to be like 40 territories back in the 70s. And I could have went from territory to territory, and had a good year everywhere. So I definitely would like to go to the past when the fans believed and they were passionate about pro wrestling. They loved their good guys. They hated their bad guys. And they cared about the story, not just cool moves.
Yeah, so talking about cheering for the good guys and booing for the bad guys, there are a lot of fans that cheer for the bad guys and boo for the good guys just because they want to.
Yeah, I deal with that on some shows, but usually if they don't know me and they boo me just because of how I look, after a few minutes in the ring, they usually change their tune. It's like, wow, this guy's legit. He knows what he's doing in the ring. Because a lot of times, too, I get this, like, for some reason, because I wasn't a big WWE star and I'm on some of these small shows, and like they give me a hard time because I'm in my 40s. It's like not even based on my skill level. It's like, oh, who's the old guy? But they shut up pretty quick about that once they hear some of my Ric Flair chops out there.
What is the proudest moment of your career?
Proudest moment, I would say my very first match at WWE. It was in 2001 at the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And what also makes it so cool was I had moved away from HWA where I was trained to be a pro wrestler. I didn't get any help from my trainer to get the booking. This is in a time when you had to mail in your resume, a VHS tape, and an 8x10. And Kevin Kelly, who was a Ring of Honor and New Japan commentator, he saw my footage and, he liked what he saw. I got the opportunity. I went to Minneapolis, Minnesota, to the Target Center in front of 20,000 people. I got to wrestle Haku Ming. He's King Haku. He's had several names over the years. Just a tremendous wrestler. And I saw him at the Five Seasons Center in Cedar Rapids, Iowa in 1986 when I was a little kid. And 20 years later, yes, sir, yeah. Anyway, I'm wrestling in front of 20,000 people. I'm in a WWF ring performing, and it still excites me to this day when I think about it. And what's also great is I get to see Haku every now and then on shows, and he just remembers that now, and we have that bond forever. But yeah, I would say that was my greatest.
Oh, it is. I think it is really cool that you get to wrestle next with 20,000 people watching you.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen anymore. This is back in the Attitude Era when you saw NWO shirts, Austin 316 shirts everywhere. So it was pop culture.
What is something about you that would surprise people?
Maybe, I come across really angry in some of my promos right now, but I'm actually a really nice guy. It's like, if you're cool to me, I'll be cool to you. But I mean, I can just turn it on like that and be somebody that everybody hates on TV.
That's one of the good skills of being a wrestler.
Yes.
Being able to just turn into your gimmick like that.
Yes, because right now, when I wrestle, there's so many elements of it that's real. It's like I can channel the anger that I have of the last 20 years. Like maybe I didn't get my just due in the business, or I should have succeeded here or there. It's easy to channel that anger if I'm a bad guy, or if I'm a good guy. I channel what it was like when I was a kid, when I was a fan, and what I wanted my heroes to be in the ring. So I can channel that energy of being a good guy or a bad guy. 3 years ago, I was doing 3 personalities. I could be a good guy one night, I could be a bad guy somewhere else, and I had 3 different personalities. And each one, I was that person that night. And if you would mention that other persona, I wouldn't acknowledge it because I'm not that person.
What was your favorite match you wrestled and why?
I would probably say it was in Texas. I wrestled the Honky Tonk Man, and this was 2008. It was my some of my really good years in Texas when I really believed I should have got a contract, but it was a time period where I was still considered too small. And if WWE only had like so many small guys at a time, and if you got Daniel Bryan, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, guys like that, it's like you can only have so many small guys. But in Texas, I was just such a despised, despicable bad guy. So when I got to wrestle the Honky Tonk Man, I got to wrestle one of my heroes and just get booed out of the building. That was a really, really, really fun match. This might be a tie here. Another match in Texas. It was probably in front of 500 people in San Antonio, Texas, and I wrestled Frank Kazarian. Kaz, he's in AEW right now. He teams with Christopher Daniels. He's a great wrestler, and he was just the super, super baby face that night. And I came out to the ring with my swagger of like, I was channeling, in my mind, I was channeling Rowdy Roddy Piper, 1985, the wrestler that all the fans wanted to beat up, stab, throw drinks at. I channeled that energy, and everything in that match that night. It got a reaction. It made the crowd just stand up and boo, and they loved everything Kazarian did that night. And I wish I had that video because it was a tremendous match, and I may never see that match again, but I'll remember it because of the way the crowd made me feel in that match, and just how good Frankie Kazarian is in the ring. I got a good compliment from him. Wrestling me, a lot of times he's got to wrestle these long acrobatic matches. And with me, he said, Rory, it's easy peasy, night off, fun in the ring. And professionals like me, that's what we like to hear. So yeah, Honky Tonk Man and Frank Kazarian in Texas, I would say, are my two of my favorite matches. Yeah.
What is your favorite animal?
Probably a tiger. And my high school was the Norway Tigers, and I just always had that connection. And one of my personas, my entrance music is Eye of the Tiger. So I would say a tiger.
And do you have any pets?
Actually, I have 3 cats. Here's one of them right here. Here's Luna. I named her after Luna Vachon because she's just as ornery.
Oh.
So I have 2 panther cats, and then I have 1 tortie. And the funny thing is, the little, where is she? She might be here. Let me get her. This is little Annie. I knew I had to take her because during this COVID era, you have to do wrestling with no fans. And for Central Empire Wrestling, I did a taping for Facebook, which you can see on there. It's called CEW Power Slam. Little Annie here, this was July 25th. Annie happened to be in this empty building we were in, and she was all skinny and hungry. I was thinking, wow, I'm at a wrestling show, and I love cats. So I was like, oh, I guess she's coming with me. And there she's got little orange spots on her. She's got the orange, reddish like Annie, so she's little orphan Annie. And Rico's around here somewhere, my big 16-pound panther cat. So yeah, I like cats because they work perfect with professional wrestling. If I need to go wrestle for 2 or 3 days, I just load up the cat food, I load up the water, and I make sure the litter box is clean, and I can go for 3 days. Like a dog, I could never do that. Definitely cats.
You have to really trust your pets to leave them alone at home. Because
they have each other. They can play all the time. I got a big cat tree. They got windows that look out. They have all kinds of toys, scratching posts. So I trust them.
Who do you think is the best wrestler in the world right now?
You hear that in the background? That's one of the cats playing. I don't know. I would probably say Randy Orton.
He is a really good wrestler.
Yeah, and I used to see his father about once a month when I was wrestling in East St. Louis. Once a month, I got to see him all the time. So and then at Talking Shop-A-Mania too, Randy's his brother was there too, and Nathan Orton. He's a stand-up comedian, and it's so funny. He doesn't look so much like Randy. He looks like Cowboy Bob Orton around 1985 WrestleMania. So yeah, I say Randy Orton's the best right now.
Randy Orton's from the city that I'm from, St. Louis.
Oh, you're St. Louis?
Yeah.
Oh man, you could have come see me wrestle at. It's a group called sicw. We're in East Carondelet, Illinois.
Oh.
I wrestle there as Gil Rogers.
Yeah,
you have to come out when things go back to normal.
That's the person that wrestled at World League for Night of Champions.
Oh, were you at World League? Night of Champions?
Yeah.
Gil Rogers was there.
If you could choose to have 3 wishes granted, what would you wish for?
I wish to have a WWE contract or an AEW contract, just so I could finally showcase what I can do on a national level. I can talk, I can wrestle. I would like to just finally show everyone what I can do. Maybe another wish would be to maybe go back in time and be a professional wrestler in the 1970s and work with all those tremendous talents and travel the world and wrestle in all the territories. And maybe my other wish would be to be 6'5", and then I would have had a contract. We wouldn't have this interview right now because I would probably still be in WWE or somewhere. Yeah.
Who is Rory Fox, and why should my viewers get to know you?
Rory Fox is a guy that's, he's been a lifelong professional wrestling fan. In 2010, he quit. He quit because he just had enough. When I had a match with Matt Cardona, a.k.a. Zack Ryder, on WWE television, I had the wardrobe malfunction, and it brought me shame. I mean, the whole business was talking about it. I was naked in the ring on ECW television, and everyone laughed at my expense all around the world. And I carried that for another year, and I quit the business. I didn't quit the business because I had a broken body. It was because I had a broken spirit. I was so crushed and embarrassed and ashamed, and I never wanted to do this again. And then in 2014, 4 years later, I decided to get back in the ring just because I missed professional wrestling. And now I'm back. Last year, around 2019, Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder, they have the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. They did a live show in Chicago, and Matt was gracious enough to bring me out because he has also felt bad. This happened in 2009, and he kind of wanted to make amends, and we did a little storyline that night. And it got my name back out on a national level. And since then, I've done Talkin' Shop-A-Mania 1 and 2. Myself and Matt Cardona, we may have the biggest grudge match in history in 2021, the tuxedo match, where one or the other, their tuxedo is going to be completely stripped off and they're going to be embarrassed. So it's just a redemption story. It's one of those, like Jerry Lynn told me years ago, so many people quit before their time comes. And here I am at 45 now. Rory Fox may finally get that national stage that he's always wanted and he's always dreamed of. And if you look up Rory Fox, you can find stuff on YouTube, whether it's promos, matches. There's matches with me out there with a rookie, John Moxley, the Blade that's currently in AEW. He was Pepper Parks back in the day. There's good matches with him. The Chris brothers. But I put out some pretty good content back in the day, and you can also see me on the WWE Network. Rory Fox he's back, and he's going to be all over the place in 2021. And I got a story to tell.
That's the end. Thanks for the interview.
Yep. Thank you. You can't cut me off before I talk about my merchandise. Look at this. Here I am, 45 now. Now I have wrestling merch. ProWrestlingTees.com/RoryFox11. I also have a collar and elbow t-shirt. Here it is. Rapid delivery Rory Fox, delivering the goods since 1999. I have 8x10s for sale too on Twitter, RoryFox_. And you can also see my Instagram at RoryFox11.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the AJ Awesome Show. I'd like to thank Rory Fox for being my special guest. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next time!